Good morning on a Sunday. I am live and I'm super excited to be sharing more with you guys about everything that I'm doing without horses. This is kind of a new space for me. And last night I was so tired. Have you ever been in one of those situations where you like sit down for a second? I'm like, I'm just going to sit down for a second. And then you like, oh my God, wake up an hour and a half later or 3 hours later, that's when you know you're tired, right? And I think a lot about being tired and listening to your body and eating when you're hungry and sleeping when, all of these things as you tune in. And my horses actually help me tune in. So it's almost been like I don't have my 5 appendages. There was a cartoon when I was a kid called Voltron, and it was these 5 cats that, like, individually, they were like it was kinda like Transformers, but it was way cooler back then, at least anyway, and it was called Voltron. It was these 5, like, robot cats that were driven by the heroes, and then they would all come together, and it would have this big sword and the head and everything. If you guys ever remember that cartoon? And that's kinda how I feel with my horses, and, like, each one of them is a part of me and a part of what I offer, and being without them has been very interesting, but I'll tell you something, I've been getting a whole lot of work done without having to clean the barn and muck the stalls and wonder whether or not they need water and top off the water, and what's Tuesday up to, and did Dante tear anything up today? And, "Oh, what are they doing out there? Why is that the horse laying down in the middle of the afternoon?" All of these little, like, as much as when we're all together and working in that space when I'm in my zone of genius, yes, they are like Voltron, but when they're not, it's like all those cats like running around and trying to figure out which one is supposed to be doing what at any given time. Like, eats my day. And those of you with children, I don't have human children, but these are kind of like my kids. So to be without them for a little, I'm going through sort of this. All right, I woke up this morning, and today's the third morning I've waken, whatever the English is, to not having to feed horses. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do today? And mucking the stalls and cleaning the things and all the things and stuff that go along with horses have not been on my to-do list. But I'm gonna take my glasses off because that light's annoying. But to put that into perspective, when I get tired at the end of the day after trimming hooves and mucking horses and grooming them and feeding them and caring for them, I sit down, I'm like, I don't have time to do my work. And so my dear friend Rose is caring for the horses. We're calling it summer camp. So they're at summer camp for 100 days until I get back from this little adventure that I'm on. And I want you to ask yourself, when you think about being tired, what that actually looks like for you. A lot of times when we say we're tired, we're not really tired. We just need a little bit of a change of direction. We need a drink of water. We need to take some deep breaths. Maybe we need to take a breather, but not like an actual break. And I actually have been running Spartan races for a long time since my brother turned 50, which would have been about 8 years ago because he's 8 years older than me and I'm 50. So about for his 50th birthday, my brother started running Spartan races. And I jumped in on that bandwagon and I really fell in love with them. And I started running with a friend of mine, and he said, whatever you do on your race, don't walk. Like, even if you're just going 3 miles an hour at a shuffle, don't walk. And there's actually some Navy SEALs that talk about their experience in Hell Week, and they give you like a break, where you can go for an hour or something and get some sleep. And I don't know all of the things about being a Navy SEAL. Trust me, I am not one. But the thing that they said that was really powerful was, don't take that break and sleep. Like, don't do it. Like, keep going. Because a lot of times when you are here and you're going and you have that momentum and you're at that vibration and you take that dip and you're like, I'm going to just sit down for a second, the tortoise passes you. And that's sort of that go hard and then rest for a little, and then the tortoise goes by. So maybe just take it, like, dial it back just a scooch. Now, I don't mean like slow down tortoise style, you Bellas of the world out there. If you're watching and you're a Bella, this makes sense to you, because we go ham, hard as a mother beep, we go so hard, and then we sit down and go, oh, I'm just going to take a break. And then life passes us by. So what I've really kind of tuned into is not like going so hard that I can't see my own face, but just 2 millimeters dialing that back. So I have that little bit of room so for gas in the tank if I need it at the end. But it allows me to sort of find my base pace. You runners out there, base pace. We love base pace, right? But it really makes sense to even if you are going at a higher speed, because like, have you ever seen a tortoise like really haul? They can get those legs out and move their bodies. They can get some momentum, right? And that's the key piece. And that way, if you need that extra boost, that extra 2 millimeters at the end to win the race, like buy a nose hair, even, give yourself that opportunity to do that. And that's really, I needed it the other day when I had my horses. I was, dropping them off. They were at their new place, and I thought it was going to take me. And I laugh. I so overachieve. I swear to goodness. Anybody else out there can resonate with this. You'll get it. I was like, I've never trimmed all 5 of my horse's hooves in one day. Never. Never but I am a farrier. I learned from a great guy. His name is Casey Lopierre. He's an equine podiatrist, and I learned from him and took all of his courses years ago. And so I learned a lot. But one of the things I also learned was that it's a lot of work to get under a horse. And I don't use nippers at least not on my horses, and only in like a really rare occasions. I don't use like fingernail clippers for horses. I use a rasp only. And it'd been a little while since I'd had my horses done. And I had a rasp that was probably from the 1900s. Like it was time to, I needed a new rasp. So I might as well have been out there with like a butter knife, or a nail file. So I'm working like really hard. It was raining, it was windy, it was cold. I had a lot of things working against me, but I was able to dig in, right? And David Goggins says it best when he says, when you really feel like you're tired or you're at your end, you really are only at about 40% of what you're capable of. When you're out there and you're running or you're doing something physical, and this goes for mental stuff too. Sometimes you just need to go shake it off a little as so you can keep going. And he says you're only at about 40%. I think about that. How many times, have I said, oh, I'm tired, I just need to take a beat. And that's really not true. What's really happening is something else is going on in my brain. Now, that day, I trimmed all 5 of my horse's hooves. That's a lot of feet in the freezing with the crappy equipment, raining outside. My horses were in a new space. Dante did not want to be trimmed at all. He was having a major meltdown with everything. Like he was away from Maverick because he'd become all lots of like that factors going in. So where are your factors that you have going in that are telling you that you're tired? Because you're really probably not tired. You probably just need a drink of water. You need to take a second to take several big, deep diaphragmatic breaths. You guys, I'm telling you, breath. And I'm not saying go to a breath workshop. I mean, just take some freaking breaths. Just like, just do 3 of those and you're going to get some vitality. Not only that, but I had been fasting. I'd been fasting for, I don't even know how long by that point, at least a week. I'm coming in on 168 hours of a solid water fast, and coming into doing all of this physical stuff. And I was like, but I did it. Now my elbow hurts a little from all of that, back and forth like this for like all day. It took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. It took me, like Grant Cardone says, the 10X rule. It takes 10 times more resources, time, muscle, money, human resources. It takes 10 times longer than you think a lot of times. And sure enough, I thought it was going to take me 2 hours, and it didn't take me 20, but it took me like the solid most of the day. And I would take breaks, but then I would just get back in and keep going. My father always used to say, get back in there and drink plenty of ice water. And I agree with him to a certain degree. Now, that said, we're almost always selling ourselves on the idea that we're mediocre and we need a break and we need rest and we need those things. But then there does come a time when you do need that rest. And how do you know the difference? Then that's what I really wanted to dive into, is how do you know when you have hit that point? And If you a great book, and I'll put it in the comments, is Living with the Seal. It's by a gentleman by the name of Jesse Itzler, great guy, and he hired David Goggins long before David Goggins was like as famous as he is now. But he hired David to come and stay with him for 30 days. And like committed to doing whatever David Goggins said, in the middle of a business meeting, let's go do burpees. And they were in a sauna, and Jesse was like melting. And David was like, okay, abort, we're going to have to call an ambulance here. Now, I'm not saying we do all of this, because not all of us are have the desire or interest to push ourselves to this level, but you're capable of it. That's the piece I really want to impart on you. You're capable of it. You're capable of way more than you ever thought possible. And the things that is so important and powerful as you start diving into it, when you dive in and dig into aspects of yourself you didn't know were really possible, you realize what is possible, and it expands your menu. It expands your capability. It expands your ability to serve. It expands the identity of who you are, because we've all done hard things. And if you can think of a time when you've done something really hard in your life and you made it and you survived, whether it be jumping out of a plane and skydiving, or walking across hot coals, or, closing that business deal, or saying something to someone that you love and care about, even though it's hard for you to say it. That's been my big thing lately. Like having strong boundaries for myself and saying hard things to people I love, saying those and having those hard conversations. And I kind of pull on all of the things. And T. Harv Eker says it best when he says, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, hard conversations, easy life, easy conversations, hard life. So when you take the easy way out and just kind of like skirt around the issue instead of hitting things face on and going, hey, we need to have a hard conversation. Because if this is going to go forward, I want it to be chill, easy, and fun, relaxing, connected, supportive, right? So where is the discernment? And on Thursday, February 27th, I'm going to be doing a live around the topic of boundaries. There are 6 C's to having a boundary. And you can put an adjective in front of a boundary, and you can call a boundary healthy or unhealthy or strong or, weak or whatever. But a boundary is a boundary in and of itself intrinsically, and does not need supportive adjectives if it comes from an authentic space. So if the only adjective I would ever want to put on a boundary is authentic, So is it an authentic boundary? Are you comfortable with it? Are you able to communicate it? Is it clear? Do you understand it? Do you hold it true to your own authentic self, to your values and belief systems? Is it in alignment with your identity? And then if it's not, check in with your identity. Sometimes we identify as, and all this identifying as a cat and a clown, all that shit. Maybe you should check in and see what kind of clown you're identifying as. And maybe it is out of alignment with what you're trying to achieve. Right. And you really coming and bringing up your level of consciousness so you can have those strong, healthy, whatever adjectives you want to put in front, so you can have boundaries, period. And I just like that word alone. It's standalone. And boundaries are a beautiful thing to help others and yourself identify what is and is not okay in a particular container. The one that you contain, the one that you're in, and the one that you would choose to have others be in as well, because we choose who we connect with. And if you say, well, I don't have a choice, it's my dad, BS. You always have a choice. You always have a choice to hang up the phone. Like, well, they'll take me to court. Still have choices. You still have choices, regardless of the whatever follows the word because. Because is the comma and the but to whatever your story is. And if you find yourself in a position where you're not expressing your boundaries, and listen to what follows the word because. I don't fire this person because. I need to hire this person because. I am tired because, right? And whatever you follow the word because with is the story that you are believing. And that's all a belief is a story that you tell over and over to yourself continuously that you define as your truth. That's all a belief is. And so I tend to step away from the word beliefs and tap into belief systems, and then strive to not just have a belief, but have a deep intrinsic knowing. And a deep intrinsic knowing is what can show up in your body. Where does a deep knowing feel in your body? I know it where it feels. It feels right at the bottom of my heart. And that's where I go, oh, from the bottom of my heart, I have a deep knowing that this is an alignment with God and source. And I can even go into something as simple as, yes, I am tired and my body needs rest. And I'm really careful about saying I am, I am tired. How about let's replace that with, it is the for my best and highest at this moment to take rest and to have some respite, right? And have a deep knowing that that's in alignment with how you serve yourself, because you have to take care of your top player. And your top player is Jamie Tart, right? It's actually you. And I like Ted Lasso, and I like Jamie Tart. So I think that it's important that you know who your A player is, and it's you. And you have to take care of your A player. You think about sports figures, the A player gets cared for, not so he can drive the Lamborghini, but so we can ice. Like I've been putting, essential oils on my elbow and taking care of this, so I can serve at the highest level, so I can be on the pitch as an A player. So take care of that. And that necessarily doesn't mean like going on and getting a massage or whatever, but instead of saying I am tired, saying I'm going to get a little bit of a recharge. I am going to take care of my A player, and I have discernment and a deep knowing about what that looks like. Am I having a meltdown in the sauna, or is it my brain trying to sell me on my idea of mediocrity? Right. So this week, I have a lot of beautiful things happening. I'm going to be going on my road trip and adventure. Please follow me if you are. On Thursday, February 27th, I'm hosting a training around boundaries, how to know what they are, how to identify them for yourself, how to express them, and how to get to other people to acknowledge them and respect them. Because that's a big piece. I've got boundaries. How about you? How about putting yourself in a space where you know how to enforce your boundaries so other people respect them? Right? Well, people walking all over your boundaries, it's because you really don't have them. You might be borrowing somebody else's, or you got them cheap off eBay. So let's talk about that, right? And having a deep knowing about what's important to you, how it can show up in your life, and what it looks like to be able to take care of your A player. And that means protecting your space, protecting the container of you. And when you have that Venn diagram of overlap between you, another person, that overlap, making sure that overlap is in alignment, feels what we call in my 2 a.m. inner circle, chef, chill, easy, and fun. So when you believe in who you are and you know who you authentically are as it aligns to God and source, those things come very, very clearly, cleanly, and easily to you. And it's very hard for me right now to be without my horses. I walked out to the barn today, and I tried to just I tried not to cry, but I failed miserably. I was crying, and it's okay. It's okay, because they are happily eating grass in a big pasture right now, living their best chill, easy, and fun life at summer camp with Auntie Rose. And I will be back with them here in just a couple of months as I go around and start hitting rescues. If you are on my path, I will be going from Mena, Arkansas to Muskogee, Wisconsin in the month of May, and then over to New York and Boston for a bit. So I'm going to be kind of all over. If you are interested in having me come to a rescue or your barn or work with you and your horses, we're going to be doing some really great stuff. I'll be in the Midwest and up in New England and the Northeast in the month of May, and I'll be traveling around the state of Florida all the month of March and April, sharing these wisdoms and talking about all of these topics that I've created with from people like Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza and all the things I've learned from natural horsemanship. So jump in, get involved. Next Thursday is my course on boundaries. And if you want to join the community of the Zen Club, just reach out. I'd be happy to make that a possibility as well, because my vision is to offer everyone that comes within my proximity a life-changing experience with a horse that maintains the dignity of the horse and the human, to raise the level of consciousness for both individuals and have that overlap of something that can create a beautiful space for humans and horses worldwide. So thank you all for tuning in. If you are here, please, I'd love to hear from you. Post a comment and reach out as I continue to grow and serve. Thank you very much for listening. Beautiful Sunday morning. God bless. My heart goes out to everyone who is struggling in this world today. May you get my love and prayers and healers. Thank you, Creator. Believe in yourself. It will change your life. Have a beautiful Sunday.